You see a red point?
Yeah.
Yes. Hello everybody. Welcome to this video clip. We are here in São Paulo in Brazil. What is the date today? The 22nd of May, I believe, 2012. And I'm sitting here with Gabriela Saab, one of our very, very dear members of our Human Dignity and Humiliation Studies Network and future contributors to our World Dignity University Initiative. And Gabi, she is my very, very dear host here in São Paulo just now. I received an email today from the BBC, and we are producing this video in response to this email. So I read to you this email. This is a video produced in response to the BBC Radio planning a program on humiliation research. Lucy Greenwell wrote to Linda today, "Our program is very unformed at the moment. I am in the process of researching the subject and trying to find real human stories that illustrate the effects of humiliation in the world. We find that the best stories for our series tend to be the personal ones. What appeals to me about humiliation as a subject is the incredibly personal nature of it, so there will certainly be lots of small local stories about humiliation, but at the same time the grand scale of it, the way it's a global issue. I'm interested to hear from you about this scale of humiliation. What are the smallest, largest effects or impact of humiliation in the world?" So the email goes a little bit further, but I want to stop here, and I want to share with you something Gabi and we were discussing yesterday. What did you ask me? You asked me to expand a little bit more on what you saw here. You know, we were discussing my talk that we will be giving together this afternoon, and one of the slides in my talk refers to the dynamic of humiliation and how they affect everything from the micro to the macro level. And if you could read it, you know, they affect the international relations,
intergroup relations, interpersonal relations, intrapersonal relations, and relations with
our ecosphere. Right.
Yes.
And so I was trying to explain or to share with you yesterday evening the examples I used to give in all these cases. And I would like to try to repeat that now at best ability, and you have to help me, please.
Okay.
So, you know, the international global level, do we see dynamics of humiliation impact that level? Yes. This is my doctoral thesis. I went to Somalia and Rwanda asking about humiliation and armed conflict and genocide. And while I was doing that, I noticed there is a connection between a dynamic humiliation and a genocide. Let me try to explain. Perhaps some of you have seen the movie Black Hawk Down. It describes, you know, the intervention, the operation Restore Hope, with which the United States went into Somalia. It's almost, it's 10 years ago now. And, you know, this operation Restore Hope ended in disaster. The naked body, and I shared the picture with you, the naked body of an American pilot who had been shot down was dragged through the streets of Mogadishu. A kind of humiliation of America in response to their willingness to help, you could say, as it was perceived in the United States. Of course, in the field, I later understood that also the way these operations were conducted had an humiliating effect in many ways on the Somali population. So it was not, it was a circle of humiliation going on. Okay, however, this humiliation of the United States in response to wanting to help made them withdraw from Somalia. Not long later, soon after, the killing in Rwanda began. And many believe that about 5,000 soldiers, UN soldiers, would have been enough to stop that killing. And at the end, in a few weeks, almost 800,000 to 1 million people were killed, hacked to death by their neighbors. So instead of bringing more troops into Rwanda, the troops that were there were pulled out. Why? The reason, one of the most forceful reasons, we don't want to have another Somalia. We don't want to come and want to help, and you see what we reap? We reap humiliation. So there you see how a dynamic of humiliation at the international level has, been paid for by the lives of almost 1 million people. So this is one case at the global level. So do you have any idea what I forgot from yesterday? Not now. Not now. So what would be the example at the intergroup relations, interpersonal relations? So there I use Rwanda as an example, which was another case in my fieldwork in my doctoral dissertation. We are sorry about it. We are in a house where there is work going on, so they are obviously restoring another flat here. Somehow Rwanda. What is Rwanda about in the genocide? You had the majority Hutus. Hutu means servant, 85% of the population. And then there was an elite, a minority elite, the Tutsis. And for many decades, these two groups were interlinked in a hierarchy. The Tutsis at the top and the Hutus in a client situation. More or less accepted by all parties over several decades. Then came the colonizers, first the Germans, then the Belgians. And the Belgians, and I know Belgium very well, and you will be soon there, for a year, Belgium has a dynamic of humiliation going on since a long time between the French and the Flemish part. And when I read more about the time 1959, when the Hutu majority was put into power, the Hutu revolution and the feelings of liberation from humiliation, the joy that was shared by some Belgians, perhaps on the background of their experience with cycles of humiliation, then I understood, with how much enthusiasm the Hutus rose to power. And the Tutsi minority moved from being an elite minority to a humiliated minority. And half of them left and went into exile in other African countries. And there, at some point, the other countries were tired of having so many Tutsis in their midst, and they asked Rwanda to take their people back, and a bit simplified said. And there was then the attempt to integrate them in a democratic way in Rwanda. However, an extremist branch of the Hutu government won over, and they were not in favor of including the Tutsis. They, at some point, went to disseminate propaganda, for example, in Radio Milcolin, that the Hutus, if they wanted to show their loyalty to the Hutu cause, had the duty to go to their Tutsi neighbors and take their machetes that they had at home and kill them, hack them to death. And this was done with a lot of fervor. And not all Hutus, especially in Butare, the university city, people were reluctant to continue to contribute or to participate in the killing. However, if we want to somehow distill the core of this genocide, it is, as the argument was, if from the Hutu extremists, if we do not kill all of the Tutsis now, they will do to us what they did in the past, namely humiliate us. So genocide as a prevention of future humiliation. And this reminded me very much of the argument Hitler used. He imagined that the Jews were planning world domination. And his argument was that this had to be prevented. And this had to be prevented by, first he wanted to put all Jews into one Madagascar, for example, he was thinking of. And then at the end, the end solution, final solution was the concentration camps. So you see, this is a very interesting or terrible, of course, logic of preventing future humiliation through genocide. So there you see how cycles of humiliation are virulent at the level of between groups, and also, of course, interpersonal, because in some families, imagine you are a Hutu man or a Hutu woman, and your Hutu colleagues come to you and say, look, you are married to a Tutsi partner and your children look Tutsi. Your task, if you want to show your loyalty to the Hutu cause, is to kill your spouse and the children who look like Tutsis. You would be then in a terrible moral dilemma, between the love to your spouse, to your family, and the love to the Hutu cause. And many were very, very, felt the duty to be loyal to the Hutu cause. Of course, then the genocide was stopped, and the genocidaire who had participated became the villains. There was no reason to be proud anymore. And I was told by psychiatrists in Kenya that some were hiding in Kenya, and they had terrible nightmares when they were eating. They're seeing small fingers on their plates of their children they had killed. So here they were no heroes anymore, they were villains, had to hide, and they were alone, had no family anymore. And who had killed their family? They themselves. So you see how these dynamics can play out in a disastrous way interpersonally. And then, of course, relations with our ecosphere. My recent book was on dignity economy. I think that
May I stop?
Yes, please.
Because this is intrapersonal relations too, and you gave me an example about honor killing.
That's right.
It's very interesting.
I forgot that. Yes, thank you.
Right.
Yes, I use also sometimes the example of honor killing. And I must begin by apologizing for using this example. My Egyptian friends are very angry with me. Because they feel humiliated by me using this example, because they think that I want to blacken the reputation of the Arab world by using that example.
No, but it's good because you can talk about your interpersonal relations too.
Yes. I worked in the Arab world, for example, as a clinical psychologist in Egypt for 7 years, and so I always say, imagine you are a clinical psychologist somewhere where honor killing is being accepted, and a mother is coming to you and she is saying, okay, sadly our daughter has been raped, and we have tried to cover it up, we have tried to marry her off to the rapist. You remember just in Morocco there was an important case where a girl was married off to her rapist and she then committed suicide. Yeah. So it has become very, very known just recently. So the mother says to you, okay, we have tried everything to somehow repair the humiliated family honor that was perpetrated on us, or that we suffer from through this rape. Now we have no way, we tried everything, nothing worked, we need to kill our daughter. I need to ask her brother or my brother to do that as a duty, like surgery, you send... you go to surgery if your arm is infected. This would be the explanation I got in Egypt. If your arm is infected, you will amputate the arm to save the body. And it's not that you love surgery or that you don't love your arm. No, it's that you have another, a dilemma. You have two loves. You love your arm, but you love your entire body, so you have to save the body. So this would be, the family would be the body, and the girl would be the diseased limb. And the girl would have to be amputated in order to save the body. And this would be a terrible dilemma. And the mother, I just was told you that a paper from Turkey was sent to me about honor killing, where the student who wrote the paper interpreted honor killing as lack of love. And if you look at that, it's not lack of love, it's a dilemma of two loves, exactly like in the Hutu case, dilemma between two loyalties, two loves for a certain concept. And so okay, so imagine you listen to the mother and she says, okay, now, I have no other way, the girl must be killed. And you listen to that, and imagine I listened to that, and I was feeling, no, the girl must get trauma therapy. To kill her is compounding humiliation. It's not healing humiliation, it's making it worse. And somehow I felt that I was personally humiliated by listening to that story. And then imagine if I had said that to the mother so bluntly, then she would have said, oh, look, you are an arrogant Western person who humiliates my culture, who doesn't respect my culture. So you see, there are two very, very different definitions of humiliation. One definition where the girl must die, the other definition where the girl must not die. And it's mutually exclusive. Basically, for a human rights defender, it's also a dilemma. You cannot say, oh, I want to respect this woman's culture, therefore let her kill the girl. And at the same time stand by your human rights ideals and say, no, the girl should not be killed. You cannot advocate killing and not killing the girl. So there it's again another dilemma. So I often say that I use the Max Weber's ideal type approach. This is an approach that allows for kind of distilling these very sharp moral dilemmas, while not forgetting that situations of honor killing or any other situation of genocide is much more complex and fluid than what I said now. But it's just to somehow kind of sharpen the analysis. So this was this example. Did I forget anything, you think?
No,
okay. So then the last example would be our relationship with our ecosphere. And there, I think our economic frames that we have globally, the world system, Wallerstein calls it the world system. The world system is now framed with legal institutions, legal frameworks that are, and I learned that just now, I'm coming to São Paulo from Chile. I spent 1 month in Chile with the philosopher of social science, Howard Richards. And his point, he has really worked through this, and his point is that the world system of today is defined according to Roman law. Contract, the private property, certain ground pillars of Roman law define the world system of today. And this world system, I think at the moment, and not only I think, many people think, per definition has a humiliating effect. And I just got an email, ecocide as a crime against peace. So there we are opening up now our discussion of dignity also. You know, what is dignity? Dignity of human beings, dignity of animals, and dignity of our ecosphere. I think at the moment what is our most important duty as a human family on this planet is to think through the economic frames that we have institutionalized in the IMF, the World Bank, globally, or also locally, the laws, for example, what can a CEO do? Are there laws that the shareholders can sue a CEO if he also considers social and ecological aspects in his decision making, not just profit maximization? So all the legal body that we have in this world, we have to think through. Otherwise, we will, per definition, commit ecocide, and this will have humiliating effects in very, very, very many ways. You know, it will put people into danger. It would be too long to now spell out each level. Future generations. You are working with water now. Yeah. Perhaps you can say a few words to that.
Yeah, that's a very important subject. Is we're now aware that our water it's not unlimited.
Yes.
And we should take care of it, and especially for us, of course, but also for future generations. You know, is intergroup relations.
Yes.
And between groups that are here in right now, these generation groups, but also intergenerational groups.
Yes.
So
and as you said, the future and the entire human family. And
it's
and
not
its
just
future.
about nature, it's about us.
Yeah.
So we are all connected,
Yeah.
and we should
Yeah.
think globally and through this.
Yes. Is there anything that we should add now?
I don't know.
So perhaps we say thank you to you. It was lovely to have you listen to us. And we have a lot of links. When you click on this video, you will see many links to our websites and more material. So thank you very much.
Thank
you, Gabi.
Thank you.
Gabi, I have to learn that.
Thank you.
Thank you.